You're listening to the Marc Cox Morning Show.
Well, I'm running down the road trying to loosen my load. I got 7 women on my mind.
What we have here is a crisis.
Couldn't agree with you more, Senator Gillibrand. No doubt about that. So I pull up CNN because I do thorough research for this show. You got to look at what everybody's reporting out there, right? Here's the headline: House GOP struggles over conservative hardliners, I should say, over their tactics. And they quote Representative Fred Upton, a Michigan Republican, who says, it's frustrating. I mean, it's just a pain in the ass. This is a Republican referring to other Republicans. And my guest right now is Congressman Jody Hice from the great state of Georgia, District 10. Congressman, I believe Fred Upton was talking about you.
Me and some of my fellow colleagues in the Freedom Caucus, I'm sure. But listen, Fred has his opinion that frankly doesn't carry a whole lot of weight, but I'm going to allow him to express his opinion, and we'll continue doing what we can to stand for the things that the American people sent us to Washington to fight for. It just never ceases to amaze me, the lack of spine and the lack of willingness from so many people up here to fight, to stand up for the right things. But be that as it may, we're going to continue doing what we can.
Thank you for doing that, because you are in a position right now where Nancy Pelosi is steamrolling the Republicans in Congress. She's got the votes, and if she can whip them all into shape, there's very little you can do to stop it. So in the meantime, what Upton is mad about is that You've done things like call for roll votes and make sure that people are on the record with what they're voting for, correct?
Yeah, I mean, and how isn't that what we're sent here to do?
Yes.
And it's stunning. I think the American people would be stunned to find out how many votes up here go by voice, how many go by unanimous consent, and you never know how your representative is voting on these issues, and some of them are quite significant. And so we're just saying, look, we're going to call on a roll call vote, and it just makes certain people upset. But as you mentioned, as a part of the minority, we have very little tools at our disposal to help slow down or potentially throw sand in the gears of the radical left-wing legislation that the Democrats are cramming down the throats of Americans right now. And so we are choosing to use every parliamentary procedure we can to make it as difficult for the Democrats as possible, especially in light of not only the legislation, but we are now working within a context of Fort Pelosi, where literally this place is caged in with razor wire around it. We have the Democrats kicking some of our members off committees. We have the floor process that's been totally turned upside down. She is literally making Congress ineffective in every way, and we're just saying enough of it. We're going to fight back with every parliamentary tool we have until some things change around here, including letting Republicans have a seat at the table with all of these things that they are trying to cram down our throats.
Yeah, amen. Congressman Jody Hice, my guest. How many members are there? What's the head count for your conservative coalition there in the House?
Well, we don't let out the exact numbers and so forth, but I can tell you it's in the ballpark of about 40 or so.
Okay.
I'll just leave it there.
Well, what we need are about 80. So I'm hoping that in this next election cycle, there are some people primaried, and we can get people in there like you that are willing to stand up and fight. Because I can tell you this, from our perspective out here in the heartland, we're looking at Washington just shaking our heads, and you guys are the only ones in there that can try to slow this down a little bit until we can retake the House in 2022. Do you feel like that's a realistic goal?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I feel very confident just with the horrible things that the Democrats are doing. The American people are going to look at this and shake their head like really, is it okay? Is it normal American thought process to think that you can wake up today as a man and just say, I feel like a woman today, so everyone in America needs to acknowledge me as a woman. And to use a woman's locker room and restrooms and sporting events and all. No, Americans don't think that way. They don't think that's good for your child to be faced with that kind of thing, and you know, really taking away protections from women in general. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. And so, yeah, I think we have a great chance of taking back the majority. The only thing that would stand in the way of that is foolish decisions by the Republicans, number one, not to stand and fight against this stuff, but to likewise stand up for horrible things like earmarks and that type of thing. And hopefully we won't go down that path. But we can shoot ourselves in the foot. Hopefully we'll not do that, and we'll continue to fight for conservative principles. To do so, we'll take back the majority.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. In the meantime, and I believe, Congressman, the last time I had you on, you and I were talking about what needs to happen in state legislatures like Georgia, obviously Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, to make sure we don't have the same kind of train wreck next time around. Yesterday, I got to talk with the folks from Americans for Limited Government about what they're doing in Arizona. They have an election integrity bill down there that's got to be a model for these other states, requiring hand count audits, prohibiting private funding of election activities, prohibiting mass mailing of ballots to voters who don't ask for one, requiring signature verification. We've really got to get this under control.
We've got to get this fixed. No question about it. Arizona is approaching it based on the primary problems they had. I know Georgia is making great progress. There's at least 12 significant bills that have passed crossover day. They're going to be voted on in Georgia, and they're good bills. They're things that will deal with the issues you just brought up and ensure voter identification for absentee ballots and do away with the no excuse absentee ballots to begin with. But there's a host of great pieces of legislation coming in the General Assembly of Georgia, as are other states dealing with it. We have got to ensure to the American people that our elections count, that there will be one legal vote cast and one legal vote counted. And, unfortunately, the Democrats, as you know, through H.R. 1, they're trying to eradicate that and federalize the election system. That would be a tragedy, and we're fighting against that. Hopefully it won't get past the Senate. But in the meantime, states are doing the right thing. That's constitutionally where the election should be managed, is on the state level.
Absolutely. Congressman Jody Hice, pleasure to get you on here again, and hopefully we can do it again soon. Keep up the good work.
You too, Mark. Thank you much.
Yes, sir. We'll talk to you soon. Congressman Jody Hice there from District 10 down in Georgia, at Congressman Hice, Hice. If you are on Twitter, you can follow him there.